Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 76. I am Andrew Eisen, the only one here, because Zachary has some family things to deal with this weekend. So, another solo show. Lucky you? Yeah, work has been a bear, so I haven't been paying as much attention to the gaming news as I would like because I've been busy. Um, but I think I can hop on to a topic that I addressed last week, which is Lego Star Wars, The Force Awakens, the more recent Lego Star Wars game. I had said last week that I had just started playing it and that I didn't really like it too much. My opinion has evolved slightly. One of the things I criticized the game for was having some serious damned sound issues. That's mostly limited to the first level of the game, which if you're going to have sound issues in your game, the very first level is really not where you want them. You know, first impressions and all that. Uh, so the first level is a redo of the Battle of Endor, um, from Return of the Jedi. No idea why. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, nothing there really influences anything else in the game. And there wasn't really anything in that level. It's like, oh, I see why we've revisited Endor again because now we can do this. No, it's just Endor again. It's fine, minus some horrific sound issues. But they're mostly, and by sound issues, I mean the sound balance is weird. The sound keeps the levels keep changing, and there's some bad static and pops. The music will fall out of the background occasionally. And I've played through the level. I played through it again once I beat the game and had a bunch of characters, so I could go through and free play. And all the same sound issues were in exactly the same places. So it's a problem with that level, and that's unfortunate. The game is still not very good. I've hello Trilink. I've completed every level in the game. I have not. I think there's like 250 gold bricks. I have, I don't know, 150. So I still have like 12 levels to get all the mini kits and stuff in to do through free play. I have and a bunch of the uh, open world bricks and things to pick out. Um, and I kind of want to play something else, and I'm hesitant to do it because I feel like if I take Lego Star Wars: The First Awakens out of the PS4, I'll never put it back in. And I'm one of those people who is like, I must eat every scrap of food on my plate. I must clean my plate, and I have kind of the same attitude towards video games. I must play the entire thing. I must complete it. I must 100% it. Otherwise, I'm wasting my money, right? No. I paid $20 for the gold edition of Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, so I got all the DLC also. But I ask myself, I say, well, Andrew, I mean, you've put 20 hours into this game or something, and you're not really enjoying yourself. So just stop, you know? Even if you don't consider it worth the money, just write off the $20, man. You're fortunate enough to be in a position where $20 isn't going to really, going to put you on the street. So just play something else, you dweeb. Um, but it makes me feel like a quitter. So, what's wrong with the game? Why don't I enjoy it? Well, it's still a Lego game. It still has a lot of the Lego charm. Unfortunately, it's one of the Lego games that binds itself to a lot of the pre-recorded dialogue from the original movie. The Lego games, I feel, sing when they're allowed to do their own thing. So like Lego Batman 2, which actually wasn't voiced, but it was its own unique story. Um, Lego Batman 3, which is more like Lego Justice League than anything else, was fully voiced, fully unique story, and it was wonderful. Marvel Superheroes, Lego Marvel Superheroes was had some elements of the films, but was its own. Lego Avengers was based on the movie, but Lego Marvel Superheroes was just wonderful. They just said, "Let's just do a fun Marvel game." It was great. Um, the move to voice was really a good call. I think some people were hesitant because they'd been all the Lego figures had pantomimed for so long they were used to it. But I swear, unless you are intimately familiar with the source material, you have no idea what the hell is going on. I mean, go back and play one of the Lego Harry Potter games, for example, and if you have not just read the book or just watched the movie, you'd be, I, no idea what's going on plot wise. So, um, but the Lego Lord of the Rings games, Lego Hobbit, uh, and Lego Force Awakens here, they all use pre-recorded dialogue from the movie, which kind of locks them into a certain thing. There's only so much you can do um, when you're beholden to what was actually said in the film. Although I must say, you remember the opening scene of Force Awakens, where the stormtroopers are coming down onto uh, Jakku uh, to get the map to Skywalker, and there's this shot inside the stormtrooper shuttle, and it's this kind of dim shot with the stormtroopers all with their masks on, standing in the line, and the lights are flickering, and the whole thing is shaking, and it's like a drop into a war zone kind of thing. They do that exact same thing, only the camera pans over, and there's this jackass flipping the light switch up and down, and that's why the lights are flickering. That was funny. That good joke. Also, as you progress through the game, you'll hear a lot of conversations between characters. So you'll be wandering around the Death Star. No, it's not the Death Star. Star Killer Base. It's a completely different from the Death Star or the other Death Star. It's nothing like the other two Death Stars. Totally different things. So anyway, you're wandering around Star Killer Base, and you'll hear two stormtroopers just chatting to each other, and those little interstitial dialogue moments are generally really funny and well written. Kind of if you've ever played Lego City Undercover, which was just a completely original title, some of the comedy writing in that is just on point. And same thing for Force Awakens. Now, the interesting thing about Force Awakens is they got a ton of the original cast and some really great sound-alikes to record new dialogue. Now, it sounds like some of the cast just wasn't there for as... It looks like they had Daisy Ridley forever because she's just all over the place. I think they even got Carrie Fisher. And if they didn't, that is one hell of a sound-alike. I looked at they didn't really have a cast list in a voice cast list in the credits. They just listed every actor from the movie. And I'm not sure if it was just as a thank you or if they actually got Gwendolyn Christie. It sounds like her. The guy, they may have got Harrison Ford because that's a pretty decent Harrison Ford voice if it's not him. I don't think it's John Boyega, though. I don't think that's him. Because it doesn't sound a thing like him. So if that is John Boyega, he sounds really different on a dialogue replacement or on a voiceover. Oni64, hello, says I hope Rareware makes a comeback someday. Yeah, me too. Because I used to love their games. TriLink, I'll get to that in a moment. I want to talk more about Lego for a bit. So there are things to like in the game. The game actually tries to do a couple new things, and this is where the problems come in because the new things that it does are not fun. One of the new things is kind of a cover system shooting thing. In every level, there's at least one area where you have to duck behind cover and pop out and shoot dudes, and it sucks. It's boring. It's a fine idea. You know, there are times where instead of popping out and shooting dudes, you have to find a thing in the environment to shoot to do a thing so that you can progress. It's and it makes it a puzzle. That usually works okay, but when you just stop the game dead and say, "Okay, now you just got to shoot 20 guys." Oh, it's boring. Another new thing in the game is what do they call it? Looking at the back of the box here, multi-build system. In all the Lego games, you'll come across happy bouncing bricks, and you'll build them, and it'll make a thing. You'll be, oh, look at what I built out of Legos! It's so fun. Here, a lot of the Lego piles will give you two or three options of things to build. So you stand on the pile and says, do you want to build thing A, B, or C? And you build and you pick one. You decide what you want to build. And then once you're done doing whatever you do with the thing you build, you destroy it and you build something new. There's a germ of an idea there that I think is really good, but it doesn't work at all because you have no idea what the hell you're going to build. It says, do you want to build thing A, B, or C? And you're like, I don't know. What is A? What is B? What is C? What do they do? So you have to build A, and you're like, oh, it's a thing that does this, but obviously I need to do something else first. So you destroy it and you make another thing. It just it slows things down, and it makes it. For me, it's kind of like games that give you dialogue options. How would you like to respond to this person? And then it gives you three options, but it's not clear what those three options. It kind of like a Mass Effect or um, Heavy Rain, where someone will say something, and then your dialogue options are potato, time, and for Larbalschnid, and you're like, what exactly am I going to say when I pick any of these options? I don't know. Um, so it's that I find kind of frustrating. The dogfighting sections are not handled very well. They're kind of boring. And the other problem is the open world. The bricks in the open world. There's quests, and they're all the same damn thing. They almost all of them are go to one of like two areas and dogfight and shoot down 20 TIE fighters or X-Wings or whatever, who depending on who's giving you the quest. It's boring. So I still love the Lego games, but yeah, Lego Star Wars Force Awakens, swing and a miss for me. Going back to what Trilink was asking, Andrew, what do you think Retro Studios are working on? I have a theory. Their new game ran into development issues and subsequently moved to the Switch towards the end of the Wii U's life cycle. Trying to think of what year. That's probably true, assuming that they were working on something when Tropical Freeze finished. They were probably already, at the very least, in the planning stages of their next game, if they don't have enough people to be working on multiple projects simultaneously. So at the time, it was probably targeting Wii U and then moved to Switch. So yeah, whatever they're working on is certainly for Switch. From what I hear, it's not Metroid Prime 4, which I'm fine with. Um, I think they do a great Metroid Prime 4. I'm sure they do a great another Donkey Kong, but I don't know what they're working on. I hope they're working on something original. I would honestly actually be surprised if they were working on something original. But my hope is that Retro Studios is working on an original idea, an original IP. And it's my hope because I have long desired to see Retro just try its own thing. It's knocked Metroid out of the park. It's knocked Donkey Kong out of the park multiple times for both franchises. All three Metroid Prime games are great. The two Donkey Kong games are great. Tropical Freeze, I'm putting it out there. It is one of, if not the best, 2D platformers ever. I mean, it grinds Mario's face in the dirt. It is such a fantastic platformer. As long as you don't hate the way Donkey Kong moves. Donkey Kong is a big, heavy character, and a lot of gamers I've heard really don't like the way he controls that really heavy feel with his movement. And that's definitely a legitimate criticism. If that doesn't feel good to you, you're really not going to enjoy the game. But if that doesn't bother you, holy biscuits, is that a great game. Anyway, as great as those games are, I would really just love to see Retro do something new. Something that it's passionate about. And not that it's dispassionate about Metroid or Donkey Kong, but I want to see it do the thing it wants to do. Um, that said, if they're working on uh, another Metroid that's not Metroid 4 or Metroid Prime 4 or another Donkey Kong game, hey, uh, I'll still be able to sleep at night. I'll still be happy with that. Um, I'm just I get the sense because it's been so long since we've heard nothing about Retro Studios and what it might be working on. So either they're just going to like game's done, here it is at some point, or there have been some difficulties. They've been trying things and they haven't been working, or they've been shifting things around because it's been so long. So be very interested. There's a rumor that there's a Nintendo Direct in January, which I'm sure there will be. So maybe we'll finally hear what the hell Retro is doing. Um, Oni says Retro Studios should close their doors. It seems like Nintendo aren't funding anything lately. But I'm sure it's going to be a Donkey Kong Country game. I haven't seen any evidence that Nintendo's doing anything, so I don't know. Nintendo is very secretive a lot of the time, so I don't think the fact that we haven't heard anything is indicative of Nintendo having given up on Retro Studios. And I also haven't heard that Retro Studios has been bleeding talent either, so I would be very sad if that company closed its doors, because while it doesn't make a ton of games, or rather it doesn't release games very often, only every few years, oh man, their games are good. Trilink, not against a new DK game, but would prefer Retro have a crack at another IP or one of their own. Yes, I agree. Ovo Cash TV. No, no, Ovo. That's not what the chat is for, silly goose. Trilink, Tropical Freeze wrapped up in late 2013, but didn't release until February 2014. Yeah, that was. I'm not sure if they were actually going back in to put some finishing touches in there. What's interesting is if you look at the art gallery for the game, there were a lot of really cool ideas that were at least in the concept art stage, but were never put in the game. So they may have used the last few months. It may have been a production run difficulty, may have been just strategic release schedule stuffs, or they may have just been putting some real last minute final polish on there. Really hard to say. Oni says Nintendo will probably assign another IP of theirs. If you mean to Retro Studios, yeah, honestly, I'd say that's a really high probability, because you know, companies are reticent to do anything other than what has proven to be successful in the past. It's like, no, 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 don't do anything new. There's no standard, there's no history that shows that new stuff from you works. Working on our IPs is what works. On the other hand, I get the sense, there's no proof of this, but my read of the issue with Rare and Silicon Knights was they were tired. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of factors, but I think one factor very likely might have been that Rare and Silicon Knights were tired of Nintendo pushing their IP on them. That was a read I got. May not be true. With Rare, it was they were making Dinosaur Planet, and Nintendo's like, no, Crowbar Star Fox in there with the Silicon Knights. It's like, all right, we did this great Eternal Darkness. What do we do now? It's like remake Silent Hill, not Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid. Really? Then again, Silicon Knights went on to make Two Human, which was terrible. So, eh, maybe Nintendo said, Eternal Darkness, I love. It's an incredibly overrated game. And I mean that in the sense that it's just overrated. It's good. It's great, even, but it's not flawless. It's great. I really liked Eternal Darkness, but it's not the end all be all of games. I wouldn't even put it in my top 20. Um, let's see. Addicted to Chaos says it makes sense. They usually have directs earlier in the year. Yeah, I didn't look into that rumor too much because that rumor Nintendo has Nintendo Direct in January. I'm like, that rumor could be just someone assuming they would. Yeah, sounds reasonable to me. Lyrically C says, did I get there? Yeah, says I think they're saving Retro's next game for E3. Yeah, I mean, if you keep predicting it, eventually it's gonna happen. I've been predicting we're gonna learn what Retro's been working on for like 2 years. So, if every direct or game show or game conference, be it Tokyo Game Show or like Gamescom or any of those, eventually I'm gonna be right unless the studio is just up and shuttered one day. But this is Nintendo we're talking about, not Electronic Arts. Um, Trilink, I agree. Tropical Freeze, definitely one of the best 2D platforming games. Extremely underrated game. I wouldn't say it's necessarily underrated. Let me read the rest of your comment. I wouldn't mind seeing this ported to the Switch in the near future. Yeah, I've been considering doing a video of Wii U games that deserve a second chance on the Switch. And I hate for everything on the Switch to be a damn port, but what you were saying about an extremely underrated game. My read is it's not so much underrated as just underplayed because it was on the Wii U. I think most people, so long as they don't hate the way Donkey Kong controls, who played the game loved it. I don't think enough people played the game, again, because it was on the Wii U. I think it would do better on the Switch, I'm sure. But, let's see. Jordan says, "Hey, Andrew, want to have a drink with me? I had a long night." I don't actually. I can't because normally I have a water bottle here, but it's in the sink, and I've been too late. I've been having a really lazy day. One of those I can't get the energy to do much other than watch old episodes of Joy of Painting. I just have no energy to. I got up, I went to the gym this morning, I came home, I went, I'm done for the rest of the day. I have nothing left. Um, uh, Chaos says, I will say that I do hope the rumor Soul Calibur 6 coming to Switch is true. I had actually not heard that rumor. I had not even heard that there was going to be a Soul Calibur 6, although it doesn't surprise me that there would be. Um, yeah, yeah. I think the Switch has shown that well, let me back up on that. I think we really need to look and see what the sales of, so far so good, but what the long-term sales of games like Skyrim and Doom and the eventual Wolfenstein 2, how those play on Switch. I mean, people are excited for them. The initial sales seem to be fine from what I'm reading. But I think we need some more data on this to really see, okay, modern gamers are okay with modern games being ported down to the Switch. Um, and if that's the case, then absolutely. And I think games like Soul Calibur 6, fighter games, I think they are generally speaking a lot easier to port down uh, than like maybe Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that. Um, LA Noir would be another one, I suppose, even though that's an older game. Uh, Mario Maker deserves a Switch port, Matthew says. Yeah, yeah. Although it's interesting, it's works so well for the Wii U because you always have the tablet in your hand. But I guess half the owners of Switch are totally happy with just grabbing the tablet out of the dock, and I guess it's not that big a deal because the Switch does happen pretty. It does work pretty much as advertised. So you can play the level and then just yank it out of the dock and fiddle around with it and put it back and play it on the TV. I don't know if that would. I'd say the Wii U version is a lot more streamlined, but yeah, I think that game probably Smash too. And again, I have a list of games that I like top 10 Wii U games that deserve a second chance on the Switch, even if um, even if maybe they technically are better on the Wii U, just because of the way that system works, like Mario Maker. Um, but maybe I'll get around to that at some point. Just it's a matter of time, and work has been a very horrible time hog. Darn you, work. Darn you. Um, Rare's only surprising game for Microsoft was Viva Pinata, says Lyrically C. Games the two I'd actually like to play because I've heard they're colorful and funky and um, very rare, and I'd like to try those at some point. Um, Grabbed by the Ghoulies looked cool too, but I hear it just plays awful. So um, Trilink maybe underexposed rather than underrated is a better word. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Jordan says already down in a glass of wine. Yeah, well, I don't drink. The only thing I drink is water. Although for Thanksgiving I did have a Coke. It was sugary. Um, Lyrically, hey Andrew, do you think PlayStation 4 can regain interest in 2018? For them to have a moderate 2017 in gaming, I don't feel like they delivered a lot of talk about games except Horizon and Hellblade. Um, yes. Yeah, I think Sony's 2018 was fine, or I'm sorry, 17 was fine. Um, there were plenty of games. Maybe nothing like exclusive Sony high profile. Well, they did have not Avengers, Uncharted Lost. What is it called? Uncharted something, the one with Chloe and Nadine. I forget what it's called, but I mean, it was a smaller one. Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade: Sacrifice, I think was probably one of their most interesting exclusive game stories from the year. But yeah, I think they're primed for 2018. I think the PlayStation 4 Pro is doing fine. I think it took a lot of the wind out of the Xbox One X sales, or enthusiasm, even though the Xbox One X sales seem to be doing surprisingly well, from what I've read. But most of the reviews I'm hearing from Xbox One, Sony still has Microsoft licked when it comes to exclusive games. They both have pretty much the same third party games, but when it comes to exclusives, in my ever so humble opinion, I think Sony is just completely trounces Microsoft, at least at this moment in time. Um, but yeah, I personally I keep for every time someone mentions Xbox One or Xbox One X, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a thing that exists, isn't it? Because they have almost nothing to really differentiate itself from Sony. Uh, Sea of Thieves is coming up. Yay! Titanfall 3. Oh, visceral. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, they've got they had two Yakuza games. They had Yakuza Zero at the beginning of the year and Yakuza Kiwami in the summer, and they've got six coming out. They've got Monster Hunter World, which is Is that exclusive to Sony? I think it is, isn't it? Isn't Monster Hunter World on PS4 and then PC later, or is it on Xbox One also? I forget. Um, but yeah, I think Sony's going to be fine. I doesn't seem to be any um, indication that like Microsoft is going to eat its lunch next year. I think they'll both be fine. Oni says grabbed by the ghoulies is some weird controls, but it's okay game. Seekin says, and it just scrolled past. Um, Hang on, scroll. Any debut reviews coming anytime in the near future? I don't know. It's certainly not a full like season of them. I would like to do a debut review for. My mind is saying Earth Defense Force for some reason. Let me try to remember the name of the anime. Shoot, My Hero Academia, right? Because several of you have recommended that show to me. Um, so apparently it's like Harry Potter crossed with Sky High or something like that. So maybe I'll. So I've been thinking about doing debut review episodes for um, recommended shows. You know, not necessarily or exclusively new things that just came out this season, but you know, anything, especially popular things that will get me lots of views and revenue, which is not going to happen because it doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter if it did, as far as revenue goes, because YouTube keeps restricting all my videos, all the advertising there. Your video is unmonetizable or limited monetization, and they do that for every single video. And I request a review, and then a day later they revert it. So YouTube puts that limitation on every single one of my videos, and then a day after I request a review, it's put back in the green. In other words, YouTube is wrong every single time. So I think at this point they ought to just give me the benefit of the doubt, you know? And if they have a question, maybe they should review it first before they flag it. But that's just me. All right, let's see. Matthew says, I'm still a bit disappointed that Metroid Prime 4 isn't by Retro. They've done 3 of them. Let's see what another. Did they announce who's doing Metroid Prime 4? I don't think they did, but you know, let's see someone else's take on it. I mean, sometimes you get Other M, and sometimes you get Metroid Prime. Although Other M, I still like. Terrible story and characterization, but the gameplay was fine, I thought. Let's see. I think you should Trilink. I think you should consider making a best of Square Enix video game names. That's an idea. DTD. Lyrically, see, Monster Hunter World is coming to the Xbox One also. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. So it's coming to both consoles and then PC later. That's the thing for me. And Sony's probably happy to hear this, and Microsoft not so much. But I I have to remind myself that the Xbox One is a thing. I have to remind myself that Assassin's Creed the movie actually came out at some point and is a thing. I'm like, oh yeah, they were making us. Did that? Oh, that came out? Really? Years ago? Who knew? Um, yeah, Monster Hunter World is January. I'm super excited about that, and the beta is in a couple of days, and I don't have PS Plus, so it doesn't really matter. Um, Academia is okay, cool, yeah. I only played Oni says I only played Monster Hunter on the PS2. It was okay. It's made a lot of quality of life improvements since then. So if you like the general idea of it, I would recommend giving it another go, especially with World. It seems to be the most user friendly of the games yet. So let's see. Rumors have it. The Chaos says rumors have it that Bandai Namco is making a Metroid. Okay, I could see that. Matthew says I dislike other M's controls. Have never been a fan of the Wiimote. I don't have a Wiimote sitting next to me, but it was a yeah. I don't like the controls either. I mean, they work insofar as they do exactly what they're supposed to, but I really don't want to control a game like that. If you don't know, okay, well, here's a television remote. The game is played with the remote on its side, like this, but then to shoot stuff, you have to point it at the screen, and then it switches to a first person mode, and then you use the pointer to point where you're shooting and shoot, 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 and then you have to go back and then wander around in the 2D-ish presentation of the game, and then there's more enemies. I need to aim at them. It works. It does. It does exactly what it's supposed to, but nobody wants to do this. It's a bad idea. No one wants to do that. I don't know why they did that anyway. Just use the nunchuck and then have a toggle for going into first person. So yeah, I agree. I didn't like the way it. I mean, credit where credit's due. It does work. It's not like broken or unusable. It's just I don't want to play the game like that. Um, yeah. So let's see. NST made Metroid Prime Hunters. It's a new team, my guess, in-house team like NST, but maybe not them, says Oni64. Lyrically C, did you ever have an arcade life and wish you could did you ever have an arcade life and wish you could go back to 3 games that never came to consoles? Says Lyrically C. Did I ever have an arcade life and wish I could go back to 3 games that never came to consoles? So I guess, are you asking, are there arcade games that never came to consoles that I wish did, or that I could at least play? Um, well, there are arcade machines that I have played versions of the games on consoles, but they kind of lose, mostly light gun type games. I love stuff like everything from House of the Dead to Lethal Enforcers, um, things like that. They're just so much fun, and we came close with the ability to point with the Wii remote, but there's something really fun about just pointing a gun at the screen, a little plastic gun at the screen. And there was a game called LA Machine Guns, I think I've got the right name, which just had this massive plastic machine gun, and the idea is you're a guy on the side of a helicopter uh, operating a minigun, and this thing just shook to and this thing just you could hear the sucker vibrating from across the noisy arcade, and it was so much fun. It was so satisfying. You're on a shopper just flying through a city and you're just blowing people away. It's very PG. I mean, it's very cartoony. There's no blood or anything. People just fly all over the place. But just holding this humongous thing and having it just it was just a ton of fun. And it's something you really can't reproduce at home. The only time I've seen anyone really try to reproduce something of that scale at home was Steel Battalion with that ridiculous controller, which was super cool. And I love stuff like that. Maybe not $200 or whatever they were charging for it, love, but and Steel Battalion wasn't that great a game in the first place, but I love the idea. I really liked some of the also some of the other great light gun games were Carn Evil, I think, was a lot of fun. I think it had a shotgun that you had to pump instead of shooting off screen. That was fun. I liked a lot of I forget the company, was it Sega who did it? But there was a Lost World Jurassic Park game, and they have a couple of those that they're recognizable because you'll have an enemy on the screen and you'll have like circles. Yeah, that's the Sega thing. You'll have circles appear and they'll go from green to red, and you have to shoot the circles. And it's just a way of shoot here on the dinosaur or the monster or the kraken or whatever it is. Those were always my favorite experiences in arcades. Is uh, the machines that you really couldn't duplicate at home in the same way. Um, uh, Did you the aiming in other M was only for the missiles when you pointed it? I don't think that's true. I mean, you could shoot uh, in 8 directions if I remember, but I think you could shoot. But yeah, missiles was definitely locked to first person mode. Pretty sure, and it was just aiming and locking on. Um, Also, there was a thing where there's some type of dodge mechanic that if you I think if you go back into 2D from first person mode, you'll have an invincibility window and dodge, which you can totally cheese by just doing that or something like it. Because I remember the last boss, I was cheesing because it was fun. Because the last boss just sprays you with crap, and you just kind of flick the remote into first person and out, and she just keeps dodging everything. It was pretty funny. Um, yeah, that Trilink, the control scheme for Other M was pushed through by Sakamoto, the creator of Metroid, not Team Ninja. Whoever pushed it through, it was a bad idea. I mean, it's an interesting idea, and again, it worked. It's just not how I want to play the game. But then again, I'm also the kind of guy who's like, it works on a handheld, but that's not how I want to play the game. I want to play it on my TV. So, different strokes for different. Also, oh god, the uh, what is the name of the game? Why can I remember the theme and not the game? Kid Icarus, the 3DS Kid Icarus. um, let's see. Well, a lot of comments tonight. Let's see. Uh, LA Machine Guns was awesome. Chaos says, yeah. There was a Wii port of LA Machine Guns. I'm sure there was, but playing it with a remote is just it's an okay light gun game. But that humongous vibrating plastic gun is what sells that game. It's what makes it fun. Playing it on the Wii remote, I think, would lose a lot of that game's charm. Have I ever played? Matthew asked, have I ever played any of the Legend of Heroes games? Not recalling what that is, so maybe not. Lyrically, see Sega did Jurassic Park. Yeah, okay. I think I remembered that at some point, but thank you for chiming in with that. Trilink, do you think there will be another golden age of gaming? I think gaming's. I think there's a lot of crap, a lot of it from EA, but I think the gaming is pretty good right now. I miss. Trilink goes on to say, I miss the '90s. Aughts, O's, whatever you want to call them, era of gaming. Game manuals, no season passes or day one patches, and an abundance of creativity from across the industry. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, there's a lot of crap now, but if you can wade through it, there are a lot of diamonds in the rough. There's a lot of rough and a lot of rough, but there be a lot of diamonds in it. I think there's still some great, wonderful games right now. Um, some of them, unfortunately, are getting spoiled by loot boxes and microtransactions and season passes and companies that are like, oh, just release it, and if it's broken, we'll fix it if we're not too busy working on DLC. Warner Brothers. Um, they still have the Jurassic Park arcade at Chuck E. Cheese, says Oni. That's cool. We'll take another industry crash for that to happen. I think the stock hit that EA took for the Battlefront stuff might at least get people to take notice. Uh, let me see. For on disc DLC is something that kind of went the way of the dodo. You don't see that much anymore. So I think insanely unpopular things we will eventually. Uh, I think publishers will keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing until gamers say no. So basically, publishers will generally will keep doing bad things until it's no longer profitable. You know, if EA loses the Star Wars license over this, or tanks a lot of money in stock because of the negative press, that may be enough to get it to turn around. You also Another thing is you don't see a lot of these DRM online services from like Ubisoft's Uplay or EA's Origin. I mean, they're still there, but they're not as omnipresent and in your face and required as they once were. So, um, but yeah, this loot box stuff is getting absurd, and season passes I hate. I don't mind again, it's not the idea of season passes or loot boxes or microtransactions are not really bad things in and of themselves. It's really just the implementation of it. Because when it comes across to your audience that you are, for season passes, for example, carving out elements of your game to sell back later, which is kind of the impression that a lot of gamers, myself included, get when you announce the season pass 2 months before the game comes out. So, am I saying they should do the same thing and just announce the season pass after they already have our money? Optics wise, that would probably be intelligent, but what do I know? I'm just armchair managing here. Um, let's see. Seekin says, Jurassic Park was fun, made you feel like you were in a real car going through the park. Yeah, there's something really neat about it. That was one of those where not only was it an arcade stand, but it was an arcade booth. You would go into kind of a curtained off cockpit almost. Afterburner was kind of fun too with that sliding cockpit. But you would go into almost a photo booth. You know, you go in and you sit on a bench and you slide the little uh, curtains to give yourself privacy while you're giving each other bunny ears or whatever. But it's for a video game. So you go into a little enclosed dark room and you sit on a bench and you stare at the screen and you're in your own little private play. Yeah, it's great until they started charging $2 a pop for it. It's like, I remember back when I was a kid, video games were 25 cents a piece. Just put in one quarter, not eight. I mean, for crying out loud, to have any decent gaming run, you're going to have like a pocket full of coins. Who has pants like that? Um, Addicted to Chaos says patches are good and bad. Great that something can be fixed if need be, but bad when used as a crutch. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Matthew, just avoid the AAA and you will find we have more diamonds than ever. I like a lot of AAA games though. Um, but for example, stuff like in Battlefront 2, I won't have anything. Well, it's a mostly multiplayer game anyway, but um, yeah, for example, I still have not purchased Legend of Zelda because I'm not playing with this season pass crap. You know, you sell me the entire game, or I'm just going to go somewhere else. Same thing with the Mario plus Rabbids. And I think I got a couple of weeks ago. They announced the Mario plus Rabbids Gold Edition. I was like, oh well, that was fast. I think that's just a digital purchase. I think it's just purchase the game and the DLC and the season pass in one go. I don't think that's a new release. At least that's what I get from the game hub on Nintendo.com. I have to look at that again though. What do I think of Matthew? What do I think about the politician for Hawaii suggesting legislation to regulate loot boxes? That I think I had mused that day or a few days earlier that if companies aren't careful, we're going to see other countries passing a law regulating things like this, and Belgium's looking into it, from what I hear. And a I think it was a congressperson from Hawaii had a press conference says this is something they're looking into too. Um, I'm very wary of the government trying to write any legislation for video games because they have long um, demonstrated that they have no idea what the hell they're doing or what video games are. Although the one guy from Hawaii seems to be a mid-30s dude, so probably knows what video games are. And this is a response to an actual real problem that actually is really hurting some people instead of a made up moral panic, which is what the whole violence thing was in decades past. That was made up bullpucky. There are vulnerable people with addictive personalities that compulsive personalities that uh, publishers are abusing and taking advantage of with these type of microtransactional loot box systems. And there are people who are spending absurd tons of amounts of money on these because they have that kind of personality. And it comes across from the publisher's perspective as literally predatory. Um, and it's true. And I think that proposing legislations to say, stop preying on vulnerable people with your bull crap that no one actually likes is a fine idea in theory. I am just, based on history, wary of any legislation that our government would propose because it has a history of not knowing what the hell it's doing when it comes to video games. But again, as I said, in the past, what they were proposing to legislate was a made up moral panic. What they're proposing looking into the feasibility or appropriateness of legislating, possibly at some point in the future, is an actual real thing that does hurt people and other people really don't like. So, better? We'll have to see. It's hard. So I guess, Andrew, what do you think? I'm wary, but I don't think it's a problem. But at least there is actually a problem here. Decades past, when government was trying to legislate, there was no problem. Now there actually is a problem. Don't know how well the government can actually legislate, but I'll be interested to see how this rolls out. Maybe the industry will knock that crap off before it comes to that. Let's see. TriLink, what do you think of what do you think Platinum Games are working on? Well, hopefully, I hate to be a sequel dork, but hopefully Bayonetta 3 because I want to play more Bayonetta. I mean, so again, I kind of default to something original because Platinum just makes really cool stuff. I mean, Bayonetta's great. Beautiful Joe is great. Wonderful 101 is great. They make just a lot of really great fun games, and what I played at the demo, Near Automata. So just something fun and wacky and great. Uh, that's what I hope Platinum is working on. We know, yeah, we do know that they're working on a Switch game. And TriLink says we've not heard from them since Near Automata, and Scalebound got canceled. Scalebound looked terrible to me. Maybe it just didn't. Maybe it was just a bad trailer, but it looked crap. So I'm not really sad to see that one go. Maybe it just wasn't working. Seekin says, "What's your thoughts on the net neutrality situation?" Uh, Ajit Pai? I have no idea. I've seen the man's name written several times. I've never heard anyone actually say it, so I don't know how it's pronounced. But the guy who runs the FCC is a terrible human being and a unconscionable liar, and he should be ashamed of himself for that. He should never have been brought on as the head of the FCC, but that's what Donald Trump does: is nominate either incompetent people or terrible people or people who have no business running the department or company that they're running, or some combination of the three. So net neutrality is a good thing. It's a thing we should have. It's a thing that we should not get rid of. So them's my opinions on net neutrality. Fortunately, there's a fairly decent chance that we'll keep net neutrality, because as I understand it, it comes down to like three or four people at the FCC, and a lot of the high FCC people want to keep net neutrality. It's just God, I'm so sorry I'm mispronouncing this dude's name, but Ajit Pai. Um, I, I mean, what do you? Of course, he's a proponent for getting rid of net neutrality. He's a former lobbyist for Verizon. Verizon is constantly trying to pull the crap that net neutrality is there to prevent companies like Verizon from pulling. Comcast is another one. You know, they've now I'm getting angry because I don't mind differences of opinion. I mind liars. And again, I'm very sorry I can't pronounce this guy's name, or I don't even have it in front of me. I'm just going by memory. I mean, if his name was like Doug Smith, it would be a lot easier for me because I'm lame. But he's got a unique name, so I have trouble with it. But he's a liar, and he's a terrible human being, and he should be ashamed of himself. Um, but you have to wonder: does like Mr. Pie, does he have Netflix? Like, who's his ISP? Is it like Comcast or someone? Is he going to be like if net neutrality is dissolved and a year goes by and he's like, oh, son of a bit, a gun, sorry, uh, now I have to pay extra because Comcast or whoever has throttled Netflix because they want me to use their service, which doesn't have any shows I want to watch. Is that going to make him sad? Is that going to give him a sad? I don't know. Maybe he just has so much money that it doesn't matter. He'll buy all the tiers of service or whatever. Um, but is anyone not understand what net neutrality is? Quick refresher for anyone who doesn't know. Net neutrality basically uh, dictates that the internet is a utility. You turn it on and you get all the websites, except illegal stuff. But net neutrality says you just if you pay for internet service, then you can go to whatever website you like. Anything that interests you. If you want to use Bing, you can use Bing. If you want to use Google or Yahoo search, you can use those. If you want to use Amazon's video service, use that. Hulu, fine. Netflix, whatever. Whatever you want to see or visit or view, as long as it's legal, on the internet, as long as you're paying for internet service, you can see it. Right? That's what net neutrality dictates. If you don't have net neutrality, then you are at the whims of your internet service provider, who may say, well, we'll give you access. You're paying whatever a month for the internet, but this only gets you the sites we approve of. And this could be, we have our own video service. So, Netflix don't work so good on our service. But, if you want to pay an extra $10 a month, like, keeping in mind that subscription to Netflix is actually $10 a month, we'll, unthrottle it for you. And that could even potentially go to uh, sites with particular political leanings. Like if your ISP really doesn't like, I don't know, NPR for whatever reason, or PBS NewsHour or something, they could block news sites that have uh, political opinions that they don't agree with. They could potentially block sites with particular religious leanings. That ain't good. So net neutrality is a good thing, and it should stay. And anyone who says otherwise is either lying to you or is doesn't understand what net neutrality is. And if they're lying to you, they're probably from an ISP and stand to make more money without regulations in place. So, um, yeah, there's my net neutrality rant. Let's see what's going on here. When Trilink says, skipped one here. Matthew says, my hope. Oh shoot, it scrolled. Hang on. My hope is it scares the ESRB and the industry into self-regulation, but I don't have much faith in that. Well, it the ESRB did state that gambling or loot boxes are not gambling. It is wrong. But the ESRB was created in the face of potential regulation. So, in the face of potential regulation for this, the ESRB may change its tune somewhat regarding uh, gambling esque, if you want to be needlessly pedantic, gambling esque game things. So let's see. TriLink, I wouldn't mind if they came out with a sequel to Bayonetta 2 or Wonderful 101, but a new IP would be cool. Yeah, again, I love these games, and I wouldn't mind more, but I want new things too. So I want it all. I want new stuff and the stuff I love. So I want the stuff I want and the stuff I don't know that I want. Me. Um, Matthew, give me Nier Automata 2. Yeah, I'm really transfixed by the demo. I haven't played the game yet, but looks great. Let's see. Scalebound looked bland, says Oni. No real direction. Trilink says, I was really interested in Scalebound. Yeah, it looked rough at times, but Hideki Kamiya for me is never directed game I didn't enjoy playing. It's got dragons in it. I mean, how bad could it be? But uh, it has one of the most punchable protagonists I've ever seen. That dork with the short hair. What a punchable face. That's just a video game character, but it's like with his headphones, I just want to punch you in the face, you smarmy poop. Lyrically, C says, when are they supposed to have a vote on net neutrality? It's pretty soon. It's this month, I think. So, um, yeah. But if you follow, what's her face? She's one of the chair peoples at FCC. She really, and I forget her name. I can't even mispronounce it. I can't remember what it is, but she's lighting up her Twitter with, call and send messages and sign whatever petitions you can find. And let's try and keep net neutrality because the net should be neutral. Your ISP should not decide what websites you get to visit. You should decide which websites you get to visit. So, I actually had some other topics here. The Avengers Infinity War trailer came out this week, and I did a live reaction to it, which is always dumb because my reaction to anything, whether I like it or not, is this is just how I react to things. That's not to say I never smile or never laugh or never startle if some scary thing happens. Although a friend of mine and I did go to see the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and there's a serious jump scare in the movie, and he was like, "Oh God!" And he looked to, and I was just sitting there, thing happens. And I'm sitting there, and Brian, the guy I was with, he told me after the movie, he's like, dude, you scare me. What? It's like, you don't even react to horror. I'm like, I liked it. He says, yeah, I know, but things go boo, and you just sit there. It's kind of creepy, man. You know, but I'm a very when I'm watching a movie or watching a trailer for a movie, I just watch and observe, and I take it in. Um, it's very rare that you will get a audible reaction out of me. It's very rare that you'll get a physical reaction out of me, which is why I sometimes do reaction videos because I kind of think it one because I kind of think me blandly staring at something that everyone else is losing their poop over is kind of funny, and two, I'm kind of waiting to catch on camera the time where something actually does make me go wow, yay, woo, or something, um something that makes me go, oh, because heretofore I've never really had the desire or initiative to go, oh. Honestly, I think most of the reaction videos you see are I think people are playing it up a little bit. Or maybe I'm just very dull and boring. So anyway, I watched the Infinity War trailer, and here's what I was expecting. I was expecting to have pretty much this throughout the entire trailer, which is what happened. My face would just kind of sit naturally throughout the 2.5 minutes of the trailer. What I was expecting is that after the trailer is done, I would have said, that looks super cool. I am pumped to see that. My goodness, I cannot wait until May, whenever it comes out. That's not what happened, though. I did have a blank, boring face while watching it, but the trailer I found really underwhelming, even kind of dull. And thinking about it, I think the trailer succeeds for general audiences. I don't think the trailer was really for people like me who know that Avengers Infinity War is coming and know that the new Avengers movie doesn't just have the Avengers, it has the Guardians of the Galaxy and like everyone who's ever been in an Avengers movie. For general audiences, this trailer was the first time they'd heard that. They're like, "Oh, a new Avengers movie, cool." And they're like, "Oh my, holy, wow, everyone is in this, even the Guardians of the Galaxy. Holy biscuits." I knew that. I've known that for 3 years. So that wasn't really surprising to me. Um so there wasn't really anything in the trailer that got me excited. I mean, I'm still excited to see the movie. I'm very much looking forward to it, but the trailer in and of itself did nothing to move me. Um, it also doesn't help that the Avengers theme is one of the most boring theme songs, especially for a superhero theme. That uh, oh my god, it is so boring. And I actually put this on Twitter also. I've been trying to think which superhero theme is worse, the Avengers or Wonder Woman, because they're both phenomenally bad in their own unique ways. Um, and I seem to be one of the few people with this opinion, so you probably don't agree with me, but that's cool. Um, the Avengers theme is boring. It is slow, plodding, boring, unexciting. It almost sounds depressed, like the theme song just can't work up the will to even get out of bed. Da 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 da. It even sounds like it's sighing. Like the theme song can't even be bothered. It's like, do the theme. It's like, I don't want to. Come on, dude. We're superhero. Do the theme. Da 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 da. Come on, more enthusiasm. Da 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 da. Oh my god, it is so boring. How do you, it? it isn't just a superhero theme, it's the Avengers. It's all the superheroes. How do you write such a boring theme? How do you sit there with a sheet of staff paper and go, okay, I don't know why you'd lick the end of a pencil or whatever, but you're like, okay, I'm going to write a superhero theme, not just a superhero theme, but a theme for all the superheroes. Let's start with a minor key. What? Why? I'm not saying you can't write a superhero theme in a minor key, but maybe you shouldn't. And then you have Wonder Woman, which isn't boring, not by a stretch. It's incredibly upbeat and actiony and excited, and it just sucks. It's completely discordant and amelodic. Da 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 da. Oh my god, it's terrible. It sounds like someone playing an electric guitar who has never played an electric guitar but is so excited to be playing an electric guitar. They're like, oh, bow, wow, 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 wow. And it's like, okay, let me take that away from you now. No, it's good. I'm glad you're enthusiastic about this, but don't ever do that again. I think one of the funniest things is, God, was it Hans Zimmer who wrote that? If you watch the Wonder Woman movie, whoever did the score actually tried to incorporate that theme into the background of some scenes. Like there's a scene with Diana standing on the cliff looking out over the water, about to start Part of Your World from Little Mermaid, or I want much more than this provincial life. Yeah, it looks like it's going there, but then Steve Trevor's plane crashes. But it has her standing on the cliff, and in the background is like a string orchestral arrangement of that da 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 da, and it's like bum 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 wow wow wow. I was like, oh god, it just doesn't work. Please stop. Um, I think it's an electric cello or something like that, so it's a string instrument anyway, but you get my point. So they're both uniquely terrible, and I waffle back and forth which is worse. you know I mean, the Avengers is at least a melody. It's an okay melody. It's just phenomenally boring and unexciting. uh while Meanwhile, Wonder Woman is amelodic, but at least it's enthusiastic about it. I'm really not sure which one's worse. Let me know in the comments which one is worse. So, um, Trilink, Andrew Eisen, immune to all reactions except when you felt the Joy-Cons for the first time. That's true. When I felt the Joy-Cons for the first, but you can see my face just fall. I get this look on my face like I put a Switch cartridge in my mouth. I get this look of like disgust. Like something's really awful tasting. It's really funny. Um, Second, I don't like the way Thanos looks now. He's very pink looking. I imagine that might be the lighting, because he's in a very glowing orange area, like something has exploded and is on fire. Where we've seen him before has been on, I don't know, the moon. The very dark blue, outer spacey kind of areas. So he's really got that glowing purple look. Now he's almost light lavender or something. He's kind of pink. That may just be the lighting in the scenes we've seen him in. So, or if you're talking about his kind of cargo pants and muscle tee, I don't know. I I have a feeling that once he gets an Infinity Stone in he'll start out with his normal outfit, the armor and the helmet and stuff. And once he gets an Infinity Stone or two, he'll probably be like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. And just says, I'm just gonna t-shirt and jeans it. Um, but yeah, I would. Maybe it's a performance thing. They really want Josh Brolin's performance to come through, but his eyes aren't as non-human as they were the first. When we first saw him, he had very glowy, big glowy eyes. Now he just has kind of like regular dude with purple contact lenses. You know, maybe that's done just to really get Brolin's performance to come through. I have to see how it looks in the movie. I'm not. I wasn't. I wasn't put off by it. I'll put it that way. But I haven't read that some people aren't really digging it. Oni, of course, reaction videos are staged fake, or maybe the content creators are on high doses of Adderall. Seekin, the old Superman theme is the best superhero theme ever. John Williams really knocked it out. John Williams always knocks it out of the park. But you're right. I mean, the old Superman, dun 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 dun. You're like, you're ready to fly through the air and fight crime and stuff. I mean, even the Batman theme, which that's minor key, if I'm hearing it right. That one's hard to hum because it's got a lot of moving pieces, but that's also a great excite. I mean, it's got boom, 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 boom. It's got the dark, mysterious stuff, but then it boom, boom, boom. It's got the percussion starts up and da 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 da. That's Danny Elfman, not with John Williams, but it's an exciting thing. I mean, it starts with a brooding do 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 do, but it actually goes somewhere and exciting, makes you excited. I mean, think about some other superhero themes, like let's go cartoons. X-Men in the 90s. Yeah, it's like man. Every time you watch the opening of that cartoon, you were like, oh well, let's X-Men it up in here, you know superhero themes are just kind of are either unmemorable or just terrible. Now the theme to Ant-Man was interesting, if not exactly memorable. The theme to Doctor Strange is also interesting, if not exactly memorable. The Avengers theme is memorable. I'll give it that. You recognize it. It's just phenomenally dull. And Wonder Woman's is very recognizable too. It's just terrible. It's recognizable for the wrong reason. Well, there's a good username. Hi. Um, let's see. The old yeah, John Williams theme was fantastic. Haven't seen the latest Avengers movie. It says Trilink. You mean Age of Ultron? Um, you know what? I'm gonna ban you because you're just not nice. Bye. Let's see. Block. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, Danny Elfman. Yeah, Danny Elfman is actually my favorite composer. John Williams is probably the best, but Danny Elfman is my favorite. So, yeah. Did I have another topic? Oh yeah, last topic. Super Mario cereal. So, at least in America, there's going to be a Super Mario cereal, and it looks like Lucky Charms, uh, which to me just looks gross. I I don't know about you, but soggy marshmallows are just gross. Ugh. Soggy marshmallows. Soggy marshmallow. Ew. So gross. But I mean, at least it's a cheaper way of getting a generic amiibo, I suppose. Instead of spending $15 or whatever amiibos cost, you can spend $4.99 or whatever the cereal costs, and just keep the box. And then you can send your lovely amiibo out to find power moons that you can't be bothered with. Um, you know, Nachos. Chaos says I'll try it at least once plus an amiibo. Seekin's gonna try it too. Um, I'm curious. It's Mario. It's Nintendo. I'm curious enough to try it, and I thought, maybe I'll do a tasting video. It's like, why? Who cares? But then I thought, I don't have any milk. I just put water in it, and maybe that's enough to be interesting as a video. I don't know. Um, I, I don't know. I don't like marshmallows in cereal. I like cereal. I like sugary cereal. I just don't like soggy marshmallows. Ew. Just ew. Um, Mike J says Lucky Charms is great eaten by the handful. Yeah, dry, fine. I mean, they're kind of weird because they're just they're packaged like dehydrated marshmallows or something like that. There were Nintendo cereals in the early '90s. There were Star Wars cereals too. Um, Trilink Andrews, there's a single game franchise you would like to see make their way to the Switch that traditionally hasn't been on a Nintendo console before. No, because I don't want to play it on the Switch. I mean, if it's not on the Switch, you're talking about a game that exists and is on another platform. It's going to be better on the other platform, so I'd rather just play it on the other platform. There is nothing on another platform that I'm like, I'd rather play this in lesser quality on the Switch. So no. Um, Having said that, are there games I would that have not traditionally or have never been on a Nintendo platform that I would like to introduce to groups of gamers who have never got to experience them because Nintendo consoles were all they've grown up with? Absolutely. Just off the top of my head, the Yakuza series. If you've only ever had Nintendo consoles, or even Microsoft consoles, I suppose, you've never played the Yakuza games. And you should, because they're fantastic. I think more people should play the Yakuza games. So there's one right there. Um, do, do, do. Second, I tried marshmallow fruity pebbles today. I didn't even know that was a thing, but uh, you liked it, so glad to hear it. Well, to be fair, here's what I eat for breakfast. Um, Oatmeal. Well, it's not exactly oatmeal. It's organic oats that I just put in a pot, water, some cinnamon, just make oats. Um, then in a pan, I uh, brown some chicken sausage, and then I put in a cup of egg whites and make kind of an omelet, just with chicken sausage and egg whites. So I have kind of like an egg sausage pancake, and I put that on my plate, and then I just smear the oatmeal right on top, just like I'm spreading butter on toast. Just all the oatmeal right on top of the egg, and then some honey, and that's what I eat for breakfast, along with a drink of kefir and hemp seeds. So, um, the person who recommended oats and eggs and chicken sausage did not realize I was just going to put them all together. She said, "What the hell are you doing?" Because I sent her a picture of my breakfast because she asked, because she's a nutritionist and wanted to see what I was doing. She's like, "Oh my God, you put the oats on top of the what? Ew! Don't do." I said, "It's fine. It all goes to the same place." So, uh, I like weird things, I guess. So Mike J says, "Ew." It doesn't look very good either, but it tastes fine to me. So, Trilink Yaka, or I skipped one. Chaos Yakuza 1, and I think 2 were on the. Oh, you're right. Yakuza 1 and 2 HD edition were on the Wii U in Japan, which made me very sad that it didn't come out here because 1 and 2 are on the PS2 and have long been out of print, and they're pretty expensive if you try and buy it on eBay or Amazon or something. Um, but 3 was still in print and all the other ones. So I had played 3 up to where we're at now, and I was very happy. And I was bummed I never got to play the first 2. And but they just released this last summer Kiwami, which is a remake of the first one, and Kiwami 2, which is a remake of the second one, is coming out in Japan this year, next year, something like that. Now, I don't know, at some point in the near future, and then it hasn't been announced, but it would surprise me if we didn't get it. I would also like Ishin and Kaisan, the Edo era Japan Yakuza games, because those look great too. Um, let's see. TriLink, Yakuza is an amazing franchise. Maybe we'll get those exclusive Japanese HD Wii U ports of the first two games. If we do, it's almost certainly not going to be on the Wii U. I think we're going to have to settle for Kiwami 1 and 2 on the PS4. But TriLink, I don't know, wasn't Disgaea 5 for Switch the best version of the game because it was essentially the Game of the Year edition? That series traditionally has been on Nintendo consoles. In the sense that it's the complete edition, I suppose. I mean, it doesn't, so far as I know, have any features that you couldn't get on the PlayStation 4 or whatever it came out on. Oh, Disgaea 1 was on DS? Okay. I don't like Disgaea. It's not for me. Um, I actually tried a similar game back in the week called Phantom Brave, I think, just because I really adored the art style and I thought I'd give it a go. Maybe I just don't understand how to play the game. There's a thing in the instruction manual that says to Garfarble Schnarble, push the A button. I'm like, oh, the A button. Okay, now I know how to Garfarble Schnarble. What is Garfarble Snarble? What is that? Why would I ever want to Garfarble Schnarble? And it's not Garfarble Schnarble. It's some word, I can't remember what it's actually called, but it gives you a here's a thing you can do in the game, and here's how you do it. But it doesn't tell you what that means or why you would ever want to do it. And it's silly. It's really confusing. Um, Same developer, yeah, not surprising. NIS, right? Um, Nipponichi Software. So, um, yeah, yeah. I mean, so for folks and James Fudge, the late he's not dead. Sorry, the editor of the late Game Politics. He loves those damn games. Um, Nah, they're not for me. But I'm definitely glad that it's on the Switch for people who would be into them to play and enjoy. The DS version is printy commentary. I think the printy designs are kind of cute. I think most of the design is cute. I just don't find the game fun to play. And again, maybe it's just a matter of I don't understand how to play it well. That's possible. Um, you know what game franchise I'd actually like to see make a return? Tenchu. I've played several of them. I think I played Tenchu 2 or something on the PlayStation, maybe PS2. Um, and it's a ninja stealth game, and it's a lot of fun. I really liked Stealth Assassins on the Wii. Basically, you play a ninja and you sneak around a compound and grab people and pull them into bushes and stuff. It's just a fun game. I really like that one. I haven't seen that franchise in several years, so it's it's due for a comeback, says I. So, um, I would like to leave with this thought. Now, those of you in the chat probably saw an account called "Fu Andrew Eisen," only with the word spelled out. So, and this person got about 2 comments before I deleted. I'll say him. It's probably a dude. Um, Occasionally we get people in the chat who are there only to say naughty things, overtly racist things. I don't get that. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm going to ban you. Is Do you win if I ban you? I mean, do you think you're really going? I mean, what is the goal here? To bother me? It's not really that bothersome. I can just, with a click, I can ban you. It's really not that hard. Um, do you think you're gonna ruin my day? It's like I'm gonna be laying there and I go, oh, someone someone used a racial epithet in my chat and I had to ban them. Now I can't sleep. I it just boggles my mind that I don't know what the goal is, that you would waste your time creating an account specifically to make yourself look like a stupid ass and then get banned. It's like, I just took time out of my day to make a burner account, and I typed a couple sentences into a chat box, made myself look like a terrible human being, and got banned. My work here is done. Okay. I I don't get it. So, seeking what in the hell's a shadow next to your shelves? That I see it every video you make. It looks like a hobo clown with a caterpillar body wearing boxing gloves. A lot of people say it looks like Mario. Let me move it a little bit. Like Mario holding a like a tombstone or something. You know, that there's his hat, there's his nose, that's him holding something. There's his foot. What that is all my stuffed animals that I have on a pole, like a stripper pole, I suppose. Uh, so that's what's the shadow is actually mostly a stuffed Fievel Mouskowitz doll from you can't see him because he's on the other side, but from if you remember the American Tail from the 80s, Fievel Mouskowitz was I'm amazed I remembered the full name. Uh, was the protagonist of that movie, and I have a Fievel doll, and that's what most of this right here is actually Fievel's hat, I think. I don't remember what the rest, but it's just a bunch of stuffed animals I have, and rather than keep them in a box, I erected a pole and put a bunch of hooks in it, and so now I have a place to display all my stuffed animals and all the. I mean, it's a big hit with the dates I bring back to my apartment. Oh, they love that. I'm super cool. Um, uh, chaos, trolling for the sake of trolling. I suppose maybe I'm just too lazy to understand the appeal of trolling, or maybe I have too much self-respect to act like to pretend to be a horrible person. It's like I just made people think I'm a terrible human being. Winning. I I don't see the appeal of that. I don't want people to think I'm a terrible human being. If I were a terrible human being, and I might be, I would try to hide it. Like if I were like horribly racist or something, I would like try to hide that. I would be ashamed of that. I wouldn't lean into it, you know? I don't want people to think I'm a terrible human being or a stupid human being or both. So I don't really understand. I really don't understand people who go out of their way to portray themselves as stupid, terrible people. That doesn't make any sense to me. Uh, unless, you know, the only thing that might make sense is like you are so unaccomplished, so like there's so boring, so non-notable, so there's there's nothing about you that anyone would ever care about. You're just that lame that the only way you can get any attention or any reaction from anyone is to act like an obnoxious ass. That's sad, man. I mean, if that's the case, that's really sad. Um, Trilink says, "Who knows, man? People are weird and starving for attention nowadays. They just troll for the attention. You know, I would rather, but that's what I was thinking, right? I mean, wouldn't you rather get positive attention, like do something cool and get praise? I mean, I suppose you would, but that takes work and talent. And if you're lazy and have no talent, I guess your only resource for attention or to get reactions from people is to be a terrible human being. That was kind of my impression of Jack Thompson back in the day. Um, he, you'd think it's like, why would you do things like this? I mean, why would you blatantly lie about things that are so obviously lies? Why? What's the goal here? Why are you so happy to portray yourself as an incompetent, terrible human being? And my guess, and there's no way to know this for sure, of course, but my guess was Thompson didn't care what you thought of him as long as you thought of him. It doesn't matter, and it didn't matter what the context was, as long as you knew his name, as long as you were talking about him. That's all that mattered because he wasn't talented or competent enough to be notable for anything good. So he just lied and made an ass out of himself because that was the only way he could get people talking about him. That's my theory anyway. Um, and that's maybe that's what it is with a lot of so-called trolls. Um, yeah, if true, that is really sad. Um, let's see. Trilink says, I remember you had some trolls on your charity stream a few weeks back. Maybe it's to elicit a reaction from you. My reaction is you're well. I mean, depending on what you're doing, but I mean, if you come into my chat and start flinging racial epithets, I think you're just a terrible bigot, and I ban you, and then I never think about you again. Was that the reaction you were going for? I mean, good job. Okay. I mean, congratulations. I now think you're a bigot. You win, I guess. I don't know. Trilink, not the same line of thought, but bondage and weird sexual fetishes exist, so it's not unusual for some people to also be happy about trolling or acting like asses. That's true. I mean, let's see. Uh, maybe I mean, some people are super turned on by having their nostrils licked. A thorough nostril licking. Most of us would go, ew. But hey, if that turns your crank, and you can find a partner who's into that too, good on you. So yeah, maybe some people are just really get off, and not necessarily in a sexual way, but really. This person thinks I'm a bigot. Ha! I'm gonna play video games now. I don't know. I don't get it. So Occam's razor. Maybe they're drunk. If you're drunk and you're slinging racial epithets on someone's chat, you're a bigot. Because being drunk doesn't make you a bigot. It typically makes you uninhibited. So if you're drunk and you start flinging racist words and stuff, that was there in the first place. Probably time to start re-examining yourself there. Mike J, I forgot all about Jack Thompson. I'm so sorry I brought him back up, but he's been quiet for like 8 years. Uh, I mean, I mean, pretty much once he got disbarred, he was like, well, I'm done. I mean, he didn't even really say. Occasionally, you'll hear that he popped up on a interview on some no-name AM radio station that you've never heard of, but or AM radio show that you've never heard of. But yeah, I think he just I don't know. The last he was active for about a year after he got disbarred. Like the last thing he did was threaten to sue Facebook for $300 million or some obnoxious total, uh, because some people on Facebook said mean things about him. And so I wrote him and I said, "Did you like click the report button right next to the dude's name? You know, did you follow the proper channels?" Because he went immediately to like the CEO of Facebook, to like Mark Zuckerberg himself, and he's like, "I will sue you for what people are doing on your platform." And I'm like, "Did you like, try reporting the thing?" He's like, "You're a moron." Okay, so I found one of his those "We Hate Jack Thompson" or "I will pay someone to punch Jack Thompson in the face" Facebook groups, and I reported it, and it was removed within a day. And I wrote an article about this on Game Politics, and that was like literally the last I ever heard from Jack Thompson. I'm not claiming that I made Jack Thompson go away. That it's coincidence, I'm sure, but that was the last ever heard of the dude. So, um, Coco the Arabian says, Andrew, what is your next Switch game? Um, I don't know. I, I don't know. Uh, Maybe Breath of the Wild. I mean, it kind of depends on what the DLC Pack 2 turns out to be. Uh, if it's something that I feel I must have, and yeah, no, Nintendo probably will be. I'm sure whatever this new story and new dungeon thing is will be cool and will be something worth playing, which means that I will have to include the $20 price of the uh, season pass into my budget. And I don't pay more than $50 for a game, which means I'll have to find Breath of the Wild for $30 so that I can pay 20, $30 for the game, $20 for the DLC, and not go over my $50 limit. Uh, but the game still retails for like 60. I mean, maybe you can find it for $55, but might have to buy it used. Who knows? Same thing with Project. I'm sorry, not Mario plus Rabbids. Uh, because the way I look at it, the game costs $80, $60 plus $20 of DLC. I'm not paying $80 for a game, so waiting for it to drop in price. Depends on how quickly it drops in price. And we don't really have release dates for anything else I'm interested in playing. So, I mean, when's Project Octopath Traveler coming out? 2018? Sometime? That looks cool. No idea when it's coming out, though. Metroid Prime 4? Will it even be out in 2018? Who knows? Um, so hard to say. Uh, who is Jack Thompson? Jack Thompson is, or was rather, he's disbarred, a lawyer who made a name for himself by suing, well, among other things, but suing game publishers for uh, releasing violent video games that he claimed made children commit murder. So he blamed a lot of mass shootings on video games and tried to make a legal case for uh, he'll say I never tried to ban video games, but that's a complete lie. He actually did. Um, but he did also try to force uh, retailers to be legally required to not sell M-rated games to children. Um, he basically just lied about video games and made an ass out of himself. He was also an incompetent lawyer and a terrible, unpleasant human being in written form. I mean, if you got him one on one, he was a pretty uh, still an idiot, but at least a nice guy who could communicate without insulting you. But man, if he ever emailed or wrote a letter, he was just mean and threatening. We had to ban him from Game Politics about 60 times because he kept threatening our readers with legal action. Um, and he kept ban evading. Uh, he'd keep creating new accounts. He's the only person we ever had to do that with, and we had to ban him like literally 60 times, something like that. Um, what do I hope DLC Pack 2 will be about? I don't really care. I just hope that the dungeon is a full dungeon and that the story is interesting. Uh, I remember Skyward Sword. Zelda and Impa were kind of off on their own adventure while Link was doing his own thing. And you'd cross paths every now and then, and you'd see Zelda and Impa on their adventure. And I thought, what would be neat for a new game plus, is if you got to see the story from Zelda and Impa's side. Um, I doubt the Breath of the Wild DLC Pack 2 is going to be anything like that, where you get to see what Zelda was doing while Link was off picking flowers or whatever you do in Breath of the Wild. Uh, I that may not narratively work. She may be captured for the entire game. I don't know. I haven't played it, but I always find it interesting to look at an since it's the DLC Pack 2, it's additional content. I always find it interesting to look at the same story from a new perspective. But you can always just, the further adventures of Link, or Link and Zelda go on a picnic and get into trouble with the Guardians because they sit on a sacred spot and transgress or something. I don't know. You know, I just hope that this new that the story is not stupid and slight, that it's actually worth waiting for and worth paying $20 for, and that the new dungeon is actually a full dungeon and not just like a shrine. So we'll see. Trilink, I remember your mom being a gamer. Have you shown her the Switch? Just wondering what an older gamer would think of it, since my parents aren't gamers, sadly. No, because I haven't. I live in California. She lives in Kentucky, and I haven't seen her since I got a Switch last. When did I buy it? October, September, somewhere in there. Um, very end of September, beginning of October, something like that, because Mario. Um, I I haven't really thought about it. Will I take my Switch out to mom's? I'm going to visit her for Christmas. Will I take my Switch? I don't know. I I guess I'll have to call her and ask if she wants to see it. 'Cause the only thing I have is Mario, and I'm done with it. Uh, I'll I'll probably take my PS4 out because I have a bunch of games I haven't played yet. Um, so I don't know. I don't think mom much cares about the Switch hardware. She'd really only be interested in the actual games. I know she'd enjoy Mario though. She likes Mario. Um, Nacho. Why do I keep for some reason I read addicted to nachos. It's addicted to chaos. I'm so sorry. Eventually Zelda will be a Nintendo Select. Yeah, I'm sure in 4 years Breath of the Wild will be a Nintendo Select and will sell for $40 or something like that. Trilink, yeah, it's true. They may include the DLC since New Super Mario U was bundled with Luigi U for the Nintendo Selects range. Yeah, if they do Nintendo Selects, I would imagine that the DLC stuff will be included. Most of the DLC stuff, at least in Pack 1, should have been in the game in the first place, or should be free DLC. Personally, quality of life improvements, that should be free. That should be free. New gameplay, yeah, sure, go ahead and charge for new gameplay as long as it wasn't removed from the game in the first place. But um, DLC 2 Champions Ballad, says Trilink, needs to have the ability to play from the perspective of the champions. Forgot about the missed opportunity in Skyward Sword with Zelda. Oh, okay. So yeah, that could be cool if you have there's 4 champions. I know this because Nintendo may not want to talk about the DLC pack, but they're very happy to talk at length about the amiibo that you can buy. Um, I'm glad Skylanders and Disney Infinity are a thing of the past. I hate Toys to Life stuff. Anyway, um, yeah, that could be cool. You get like four different stories, and you play the different champions. That could be cool. Or probably won't get to play the different champions. Maybe you'll just run a quest for each one or something. It's like, go get me a fish. Coco. The first DLC was kind of fun because it was challenging. Oh, you mean uh, the the new difficulty mode that Nintendo's charging for? Yeah, that's not something you should pay for. I don't think. Now, to be fair, there. No. I'm gonna say what the hard mode was is not worth. It doesn't radically change the game. It just makes the characters more difficult and gives you a couple different palette swapped characters, and it does put a couple like balloon platforms in places with snipers on them. That's new difficulty modes should not be DLC. That no, no, unless you're radically changing how the game works. No, like I mean, if you're redesigning the levels, if it's like remixing the levels, okay, sure. But if you're just making the enemies hit harder and take more damage and putting more enemies, no, no, no. At least that's my humble opinion. River, Andrew, is your PS4 hard drive full yet? No. Uh, be, which the PS4 is a 500 gig, I think, and I don't buy digital games, so all of my games are on disc. So it's very unlikely I'll ever run out of room. Um, we'll see. River says mine is full, and now I have to choose what games to be installed. Yeah, that's a bummer. Uh, he means Trial the Sword. No, I mean the Trials, but I agree with you. Oh, that thing. Okay, yeah. Sure. You know, not worth $20, but yeah, that like multi-level area. It's like 50 levels or whatever it is. Sure. I mean, that's new stuff. That's new gameplay. I mean, it's using existing assets, sure, but it's a new thing. Not worth $20. And say, well, it came with other stuff. Yeah, it came with other stuff that should be free. So not worth $20. Difficulty mode should be free. Little travel medallion that makes map hopping a little bit easier. Yeah, that should be free. That neat thing where it charts your path on the map, very cool. That should be free. That should be free. Uh, the three treasure boxes hidden in the world that give you a T-shirt and fish and stuff. That should be free. That come on, $20 for that crap. Anyway, I'm not impressed. Okay, so it's I came into this with like nothing to talk about and ended up chatting for 2 hours. So um, I need to eat. I'm hungry. Uh, Chaos says Splatoon DLC is free. Yes. While I am a little annoyed at the way Splatoon works, I don't. I want to play what level I want to play. It's the way it works. It's fine. And the first Splatoon felt pretty bare bones when it first launched, but a pretty steady stream of new content being released, and as you mentioned, it's all free. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I could never get Splatoon to actually work. I tried the play test fire, that's what it was for the original Splatoon. Never worked. I tried all 3 or 4 times. I think I was at work during one of the times. So I tried the 3 that I was home for, and I could not connect to a single one. Never worked for me. I'm like, well, I wasn't going to get the game anyway, but I'm really not getting it now. Apparently, it just doesn't work. Seekin, thanks for talking with us for so long and answering all my questions. Much appreciated. Hey, yeah, no problem. And thanks to all of you for keeping me company for 2 hours. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's been mostly negative. I'll talk with Zachary and see if I can find some topics that I'm like overtly positive about. I don't like being negative. I don't like not liking things, but there's a lot of things I don't like. Um, so yeah, so I guess we'll sign off here. Andrew Eisen, Eisen is the last name. Type it into YouTube to get my videos. Um, might not have a lot for the rest of the year because I'm super bit because I've got Christmas coming up. Work is just work is work, man. We've got a huge project that we're doing that was scheduled to go to production in January, early February. They want it done in 2 weeks. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. I have all of the I'm over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see me put up the footage from the Extra Life charity event last month. By the way, we raised $1,203.66, I think it was. So thank you everyone who supported that effort. Rady Children's actually emailed me and said thanks, so that that was pretty cool, and offered me a tour of the facilities at some point. So that's really neat. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I'm glad we could raise a lot of money for the Children's Hospital, and if you didn't manage to stay up for 25 solid hours like I did, and you want to catch the parts you missed, I will be uploading all that footage over the next 2 weeks. Um, part two went up today. There are 19 parts in total because I was down for 6 hours with humongous technical problems in the middle of the night. It happens. As a lot of you may know, as one of the stretch goals was every $100 I raised, I'd do an extra video game stream. So I'll be doing 12 extra, not 24-hour ones, but I'll be doing 12 extra game streams. Those probably won't start until the new year. I just don't have the time to do them. I thought about doing one. I actually thought about doing one today, and then I just had to go take a nap. I was just so tired. Work is honestly kicking my ass. I went to the gym this morning. I got home and I went, nope, I got a nap. I also want to do it right. So I need to get some different equipment. I think look forward to those starting in January. Um, Hopefully I'll be a lot more refreshed and have that big work project hopefully will be behind me, and I'll be able to have more time to actually do something like that. So look forward to that. Um, do I have any new video? I have a bunch of new videos planned. I have a bunch of them like half scripted, but I don't know that I'll be able to get any of them done before the new year. Uh, I I mean it's December 2nd. I'd hate to not to have nothing but podcast and old footage from the stream for you guys throughout the rest of the month, but uh, I'll see what I can do. Um, Even if it's something boring like reacting to a trailer, or Andrew eats an orange and it's just me sitting at my dinner table eating an orange. I might actually do that because that's really dumb. Anyway, so enjoy my YouTube stuff. I've got years worth of YouTube stuff. So even if I don't do anything new this month, you can plumb through the archives. I'm sure you'll find something fun. Also, follow me on Twitter at Andrew Eisen, because Twitter to me is a place where I can make really stupid jokes. 140, oh no, 280 characters at a time. So something anime related. Maybe I can do a debut review for Hero Academia. what's My Hero Academia, I think it's called. I'm not trying to be derisive. I'm not trying to be demeaning towards the show. I honestly can't. I've never seen it, and I can't remember what it's called half the time. So it's been recommended, and I like Harry Potter, and I like Sky High. The premise sounds fine, so looking forward to seeing it at some point. Academia, thank you. So anyway, that's it for this week. Hope you all join us. Zachary should be back next week, so hope to see you all then. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.